Very good afternoon. You're watching the midday news on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Let us start the news bulletin with the headlines. 3 Jammu and Kashmir cops killed after being abducted by militants today. Bodies of a constable and 2 special police officers found in an orchard more than a kilometre away from their village in Shopian district. Vice President wraps up successful 3-nation Europe visit. M. Venkaiah Naidu describes discussion with the leaders of Serbia, Malta and Romania as extremely cordial. Says visit helped in deepening bilateral ties with the 3 countries. Cyclonic storm Day weakens into deep depressions after hitting the Odisha coast. Rains and thunder showers likely in most places of the state in the next 24 hours. Rough sea conditions to prevail. Deputy Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Raghunath Lambiar flies the first Rafale fighter jet made in France for India to assess its ability. Delivery by Dassault Aviation scheduled to begin from September next year. And India to play Bangladesh in one of the 2 Super 4 matches at the Asia Cup in Dubai. Pakistan to play Afghanistan in the 2nd match in Abu Dhabi. Both matches at 5 p.m. today. A top story this afternoon, 3 Jammu and Kashmir policemen have been killed after being abducted by militants in Shopia in Jammu and Kashmir early today. The bodies were recovered from an orchard in Vangam area more than a kilometre away from the village that they were abducted from. The police identified the dead as Constable Nasar Ahmed and 2 special police officers, Firdaus Ahmed and Kulwant Singh, from Kaprain and Hipora areas of Shopian district. The police said that the residents of Batagun village had chased the terrorists and urged them not to abduct the policemen, but the militants fired a few shots in the air and threatened the villagers. They said that the terrorists crossed a river in the area and shot dead the policemen. The policemen were abducted nearly 3 weeks after the terrorists had abducted relatives of a policeman from various places in South Kashmir on 30th of August. These relatives were later released. On the 30th of August, abductions that happened after the NIA arrested the 2nd son of a globally wanted terrorist, Saeed Salahuddin, leader of Hizbul Mujahideen group. Salahuddin's son was arrested in the terror funding case. More news from Jammu and Kashmir, where an unidentified militant was killed in the ongoing encounter with the security forces in the forest area of Bandipora district of Jammu and Kashmir on Friday, taking the number of ultras killed in the operation to 2. An army official said that while 1 militant was killed on Thursday, the body of another militant was recovered this morning. The security forces launched a cordon and search operation in the forests of Sumlar area in North Kashmir on Thursday, following information about the presence of militants there. Search operation turned into an encounter after the militants opened fire on the security forces' positions. Meanwhile, this operation is currently underway. And India and Pakistan will resume the stalled foreign ministers' talk after 3 years. External Affairs Ministry said that the talks will take place in New York later this month. The last of such talks took place in 2015. Both foreign ministers will also take part in the SAARC foreign ministers meet at that occasion.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Pakistan Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi will meet on the sidelines of UNGA in New York later this month. A decision to this effect was taken in Cabinet Committee on Security on Wednesday, after a formal request was received from Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan and Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi on 17 September.
I can confirm that on the request of the Pakistani side, a meeting between External Affairs Minister and Pakistani Foreign Minister will take place on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly at a mutually convenient date and time.
The MEA spokesperson said the talks will focus on several issues, including visa-free entry to Sikh pilgrims through the Kartarpur corridor. However, he clarified that this is a meeting at the request of Pakistan and not the beginning of the formal comprehensive dialogue between the two countries. The meeting could take place before 29 September, when the External Affairs Minister will address the UNGA.
I must distinguish between a meeting and a dialogue. This should not be confused with a resumption of any dialogue. This is a meeting which we have agreed to based on a request which we have got from the Pakistani side. This does not indicate any change in the policy as far as our stand on terrorism and cross-border terrorism is concerned.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi had greeted Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan after his election. In his first address to the nation after assuming office, Imran Khan said he will work to ensure better relations with India.
It is necessary to understand the mood and the mind of the new government in Pakistan because it's a neighbor. But what I am getting from my high-placed sources that it will be a tough talk on terror by Indian side. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya television with camera person Manoj in Delhi.
And the United States hailed India's acceptance of Pakistani proposal for the talks between the foreign ministers on the sidelines of the ongoing annual UN General Assembly session. Washington termed the development as a terrific news. State Department spokesperson Heather Nauert said that US hopes that the conditions will be set for a good, strong relationship in the future. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has returned home after completing a successful three-nation Europe visit. He returned home this morning. On his return, the Vice President said that the visit was characterized by extremely cordial discussions with the heads of governments, prime ministers and other senior political leaders. He added that the visit helped in deepening bilateral ties with each of the three countries of Serbia, Malta and Romania. Among the key outcomes of the visit was the support for India's aspiration to be on UNSC and for taking forward UN reforms, endorsement of India's stand on terror, and support for an early adoption of United Nations Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. Also, business forums in these countries generated a good deal of enthusiasm among the industrialists and businessmen in every country as they got to listen to the Vice President about India's transformative initiatives. The growth story and also the reports are from World Bank, IMF that were quoted by Vice President enhanced awareness. Also, MOUs were entered into relating to plant protection, tourism, air services, oil research, diplomatic training and maritime cooperation. And earlier on, the last day of his three-nation Europe tour on Thursday, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu addressed the Indian diaspora in Bucharest. He asked them to reconnect with India and be part of its growth story. Vice President Naidu said that India-Romania relations are filled with warmth and affection. He said that the diaspora's role in connecting and developing ties with Romania is important. He also said that there is a huge potential for investment and trade between the two countries, stressing that the 3 Ds, namely democracy, demographic dividend and demand, give India a unique advantage in the world. He said that there is a need to tap the huge potential in India's youth to meet the growing global demand of skilled manpower.
Whether you are here through the chance of history or the opportunities of globalization, each one of you has become part of Romania's unique fabric and its progress. You represent the diversity of India in Romania. I am happy to know how you all have become a bridge between the two countries and the people. World's engagement with India is at a new level. Every country wants to engage with India. The entire world is looking towards India, watching keenly what is happening in India, the transformation that is taking place in India. The growth of the country is also being appreciated by one and all. Democracy, demographic dividend and demand give India a unique advantage in the world. We are a vibrant democracy. 1.3 billion people of India generate huge demand. We are a young nation with 800 million strong youth that has a huge aspirational future before it. 65% of the Indian population are between 35 to 40 years of age. It's a great demographic dividend for us. But at the same time, we are an aspirational India. To tap the potential, the youth, the prime moves of tomorrow's India. To tap this potential, we are working in a campaign mode to skill India's youth.
On to some other news now. Deputy Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Raghunath Nambiar on Thursday flew the first Rafale fighter jet manufactured by Dassault Aviation for India. Now, Nambiar, who reached Paris 4 days ago, flew the aircraft in France to assess its ability. He is in France to also assess the progress in the production of Rafale fighter jets by Dassault Aviation. The delivery of the jets that are capable of carrying a range of potent weapons and missiles is scheduled to begin from September next year. A team of the Indian Air Force is already in France to help Dassault Aviation to incorporate India-specific avionics and weapon system in the aircraft. News from Odisha now, as a cyclonic storm Day made a landfall in Odisha on Friday morning. Several parts of the state experienced heavy rainfall. According to the Met Department, a cyclonic storm which crossed South Odisha and adjoining Andhra Pradesh coast will continue to move west-northwestwards and weaken gradually into a depression during the next 12 hours. Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik reviewed the rain situation in Odisha's Malkangiri district and sanctioned a relief of 60 rupees a day per person and 45 rupees per day for children below 12 for 7 days. An advisory has been issued by the Cyclonic Warning Division saying that the sea will be very rough over Central and North Bay of Bengal and off the coast of Odisha, West Bengal and North Andhra Pradesh. A warning was also sent out to fishermen to not venture out into the sea.
Under its effects, the interior Odisha will have isolated heavy rainfall, but rainfall activity gradually decrease. Tomorrow there will not be any heavy rainfall warning. And sea condition now rough रहेगा कुछ 24 hours के लिए. Now fishermen are advised not to venture during next 24 hours. And port warning lowered to signal number 3 from danger warning 6 and 7.
People in the low-lying areas were evacuated and kept in the shelter. And because of the extensive preparation and the dedication, sincerity of the administration, as per the instruction of the Honorable Chief Minister, we had a mission on zero casualty. Not a single person has either been injured or been found dead because of the cyclone. So it is a great news and relief for us.
News from Kerala now, where a central team would visit various parts of the state from today to assess the damage caused by the recent devastating floods. The 11-member interministerial team, headed by Special Secretary of the Home Ministry, B.R. Sharma, would be in the state till 24th of September. And according to an official statement, that this team will undertake on-the-spot assessment of the damage and additional requirement of the funds there. The state government had sent a memorandum seeking 4,700 crore rupees as compensation for the damage caused due to rains and floods, considered to be worst in a century. Now, besides this, the government has also sought a comprehensive package to rebuild Kerala, which had suffered a damage estimated to be more than 40,000 crore rupees. The team would also be holding talks with the Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan on 24th of September before returning to Delhi. The Home Ministry on Thursday signed an agreement with ISRO for setting up of a state-of-the-art integrated control room for emergency response. The ICRER will deal with the disaster and internal security-related urgencies and will address the requirement of receipt of information on a near real-time basis. In a statement, the ministry said that Indian Space Research Organisation or ISRO will render its technical expertise for the proposed ICRER, whereas the project will be executed under the overall supervision of ISRO. It added that the proposed control room is expected to be established in the next 1.5 years. 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 1.5 ye Time for a very short break here. We'll be right back with more news.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back. The Niti Aayog has said that as many as 27 states and union territories are ready to join the ambitious healthcare scheme Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. The Prime Minister will launch the scheme on 23rd of September, but effectively it will become operational from 25th of September. The agency added that over 15,000 hospitals, both public and private across the country, have expressed their willingness to be empanelled for the scheme. The mega healthcare scheme aims to provide 10.74 crore poor families health insurance. Now billed as the world's largest government healthcare program, it will be funded with 60% contribution coming from the central government and the remaining from the states. Over 27 crore people have moved out of poverty in India in the decade since 2005-2006, according to a United Nations report. The report also says that the poverty rate in the country nearly halved over the 10-year period. The 2018 Global Multidimensional Poverty Index was released by the United Nations Development Programme and the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. It said that about 130 crore people live in multidimensional poverty globally. The report said that while there is much that needs to be done to tackle poverty globally, there are promising signs that such poverty can be and is being tackled. The index noted that in India, over 27 crore people moved out of poverty between 2005-2006 and 2015-16. The poverty rate in the country nearly halved, falling from 55% to 28% over this 10-year period. India is the first country for which progress over time has been estimated. Home Minister Rajnath Singh on Thursday launched India's first ever online and centralized national database on sexual offenders, NDSO, in New Delhi. The database will have a record of the name, photograph, address, fingerprint and other details of the convicted sexual offenders. Now, speaking on the occasion, Singh said that the database will help investigating agencies for the speedy trial of the cases. He said that this database has information about 4.5 lakh sexual offenders. News from Gujarat now, where the carcasses of 11 lions have been found in Gir forest. All the dead lions were found in Gir East Division, mainly from Dalkhania range in the last few days. Now, the state government has ordered an inquiry into the unexplained deaths. Forest officials said that preliminary information shows that 8 deaths have occurred due to infighting. Principal Chief Conservator of the Forest Wildlife has said that no foul play or suspicion is suspected in these deaths. As per the 2015 census, Gir is home to 520 lions. The IT Ministry is reportedly planning to send a third notice to WhatsApp, asserting that it bring in traceability of the messages on its platform. The American firm has maintained that enabling traceability will impact end-to-end encryption and violate the privacy of its users. Now, according to government sources, an internal discussion was held on the issue, and the third letter could now be sent to WhatsApp in the next 7 to 10 days. The ministry feels that technical solutions can be found to trace the originator of the message without actually compromising end-to-end encryption. WhatsApp has already been slapped with 2 notices, with the second one warning that it will be liable to be treated as a abettor and can face legal consequences if it remains mute spectator. On to international news now. India has welcomed the just concluded Inter-Korean Summit meeting that was held in Pyongyang on 18th to 20th of September. In a press release, External Affairs Ministry said that India has been constantly supportive of all such efforts to bring about peace and stability in the Korean Peninsula through dialogue and diplomacy. It added that New Delhi hoped that such continued engagement will help reduce tensions and pave the way for lasting peace and reconciliation in the Korean Peninsula. Meanwhile, the United States has sanctioned the Chinese military for buying Russian fighter planes and missiles and has also blacklisted more than 30 Russians. The U.S. State Department said that it would immediately impose sanctions on China's Equipment Development Department, which is a branch of the Chinese military responsible for weapons and equipment, and its director for engaging in significant transactions with Russia's main arms exporter in the year 2018. The U.S. administration also blacklisted an additional 33 people and entities associated with the Russian military and intelligence. It added them to a list under the 2017 law known as Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. That was passed by Congress amid concerns that President Donald Trump would not take tough action against Russia. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has said that China was a greater threat to the U.S. than Russia. In an interview to a new TV news channel, Pompeo said that a highly centralized and non-transparent Chinese government, which is aggressive in its military posture with its economic strength and treats intellectual property and religious minorities horribly, poses a far greater threat to the United States than Russia. And the death toll has risen to 79 in the Lake Victoria ferry disaster in Tanzania. The accident happened between two islands in Lake Victoria, which is the largest lake in Africa, which straddles the borders of Tanzania, Uganda and Kenya. The ferry overturned near the shore between the islands of Okora and Buglora. The ferry was carrying more than 400 passengers. Now, officials said that the number of people who drowned could be more. About 100 people were earlier rescued by Thursday night, of which several are said to be in a critical condition. The rescue operation was halted last night because of poor visibility. It is thought that the overloaded vessel toppled over when the crowds on board moved to one side as it docked. And in more international news, Vietnamese President Tran Dai Quang has died at the age of 61. According to the official Vietnam news agency, Quang died at a military hospital in Hanoi today due to serious illness. Quang had been suffering from a serious illness for several months, and he had received medical treatment abroad and in Vietnam as well. He was sworn into office in 2016 following his stint as the head of the Ministry of Public Security. On to all the sporting action now. First up, cricket. India will take on Bangladesh at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium in the Super 4 Clash of Asia Cup today. India had won their opening match against Hong Kong and then defeated Pakistan by 8 wickets in the second group match, while Bangladesh defeated Sri Lanka by 137 runs. But they lost their second group game to Afghanistan. And in the other Super 4 match, Afghanistan will face Pakistan today. Pakistan won their opening match against Hong Kong, but they lost their second match to India. While Afghanistan defeated Sri Lanka in their opening clash by 91 runs and they thrashed Bangladesh by 136 runs. And speaking about yesterday's match, Afghanistan defeated Bangladesh by 136 runs in their Group B Asia Cup match yesterday, chasing a target of 256 runs. The Bangladeshi side was bundled out for just 119 runs in 42.1 overs. Bangladesh kept on losing wickets at regular intervals. Shakib Al Hassan was the highest scorer for Bangladesh with his knock of 32, but the rest of the team failed to contribute much. Earlier, batting first, Afghanistan posted 255 runs on board for the loss of 7 wickets in 50 overs. Hashmatullah Shahidi scored 58 runs, while Rashid Khan marked his birthday with a knock of 57 runs off just 32 deliveries to put Afghanistan in a comfortable position. News from the world of badminton. Ace Indian shuttler Kidambi Srikanth has crashed out of the China Open badminton tournament. Srikanth lost to his Japanese opponent Kento Momota 9-21, 11-21 in the quarter-final clash today. And in the women's singles, PV Sindhu defeated Busanan of Thailand 21-23, 21-13, 21-18 on Friday to move into the quarter-finals. And today, she will face Chen Yufei of China. And also in the mixed doubles, Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Ashwini Punappa earlier crashed out of the tournament after losing to their Chinese opponents. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. But news and updates continue on your channel. Thanks for watching.